So, a little while back, I did a review on a Nintendo Wii game called Beastly, which was based off of the movie of the same title, which was based off of a book of the same title, apparently. And if you haven't seen that review, you should totally check it out, because that game was an absolute mess. Between the awkward controls, the totally unfun and forgettable mini-games, and a storyline that not only barely followed the movie to begin with, but at one point becomes completely abandoned altogether. It's just a trip, man. Now, to be honest, I actually thought that was a pretty good attempt at converting that movie into a game. I mean, it felt flat ultimately, but it was still a good attempt as far as the game design goes. But I felt compelled to do a follow-up review because there are just still so many things to talk about, several things at least, that I had to either cut from my initial review due to time management reasons. That review was getting a little bit long, or things I just noticed along the way during editing. So, the first interesting thing I didn't initially pick up on was that your teacher, who appears now and again throughout the school and ultimately takes you on that Machu Picchu trip, also totally moonlights as a bouncer at that club. Like, were they really so lazy they couldn't make one more character? They were like that in a time crunch, they just recycled this guy? You get to see Kendra a couple of times around the school, but I mean, that's basically it. Kendra barely ever makes any appearances, and when she does, they just sort of make her whiny. Not like the no-nonsense heroine of darkness, dealer of harsh lessons she is in the movie. In fact, they didn't even give you a photo or a video clip of her. The pictures of her I used in my review I had to source from the internet. The developers of this game clearly just didn't like her. But we do get to see this clip of Kyle working out, which I don't even recollect being a scene in the movie. I mean, maybe it was, but I just don't remember, and there's no way I'm watching that shit again to confirm anything. Oh, and let's remember, he's supposed to be playing a high schooler, so it's just fucking weird. It's just fucking weird to watch. And since we are on the topic of Kendra, another weird thing I noticed was the subtle nod to what I would call one of the main quotes or catchphrases of the film that Kendra says at one point: "Best embrace the suck." I didn't say it was a good quote, but I mean, someone was proud of that. Anyway, they never outwardly say that though. They never outwardly say, "Embrace the suck." Like, look, there's Kendra's text, which just says, "Embrace." And then way more obscure is Kyle's eyebrows. Look, they totally read "Embrace suck." That's kind of hilarious, gotta admit. Also, in the interest of time, I decided to cut a part I wanted to do about that claw machine. But I think that thing seriously needs to be addressed, at least a little bit, because that fucking claw machine was driving me insane. Like, it is so fucking touchy. Just the slightest little tweak of the Wiimote would just send that stupid claw flying. This was easily the hardest part of the whole game, and it seriously had me ready to like throw my Wiimote through a fucking window and call it quits. But I'm glad I persevered because I'm glad I persevered. Now, that's a lie. I'm not glad. But it was such a short game anyway, so whatever. You can easily clear that game in like an hour. Storm City Games, the monsters responsible for this atrocity, seems to be out of business as far as I could tell, which is not very surprising given their sparse list of not very good games, including a DS version of Beastly. I'm sorry, but who in the world would ever buy that? And holy shit, you will not believe this. It's just a stupid fucking spot the difference game similar to the one at the end of the Wii version. Like, imagine being a kid who just watched Beastly, loved it for some reason, saw a DS game based on it in the store, and you were like, oh man, I gotta have that. You get home, and then this is what you get. And where did this music come from? This isn't from the movie or the Wii game. Man, this is worse than a bad rendition of a movie game. This is a straight up marketing scam. Someone deserves to serve jail time for this. Alright, so I've watched the movie, I've reviewed the game, I did a cover of the main theme song, I re-reviewed the game, and I played the DS version. So with that, I think I'm officially closing the book on Beastly.